In the book, this is chapter 7 called Mixed Messages During Apartheid. Now, he was one of my father's laborers. His Setswana name was Mafuta, translated to the fat one. How he got that name, I never could understand. It should rather have been Marapu, meaning bones, because he was nothing but a bag of bones. Obviously, he must have had he was of a person of mixed lineage, and I'm convinced that there was some San Bushman in him. His skin was yellowish of color, brownish, yellowish, and he was not not an inch taller than 5 feet. He always wore, let me put it this way, his uniform, if I can call it that, and he wore that every day, was some brown coveralls, and for shoes, what we called rampashans. Now, rampashans or rampashanas are sandals, homemade sandals, with the soles made out of vehicle tires. So the soles, instead of the shoes, the sandals, wherever you walk, you would see vehicle track impressions, instead of regular shoes. But we call that rampashans. Mafuta was a cattle hand on the ranch, mostly working with cattle. Oh, and the most important thing about Mafuta, I just forgot. He always wore a yellow brownish woolen beanie, summer or winter, always. As I said, he was a ranch hand or a cattle hand on my dad's ranch, Buffelsfontein. Buffelsfontein is an Afrikaans name, or can be translated into English as Buffalo Fountain. Speaking of trackers, he was the best of the best. He could identify my dad's cattle, and of course his own cattle, by the tracks they made in the sand or in the dirt. And he could see if he couldn't see a particular cattle, he's looking for a specific track, he would notice if that specific cow was not there. He was looking for that track and that cow is not here amongst the 400-500 cows that are there. Now, this sounds incredible, but he could identify the cattle by that specific animal's tracks. If he was looking for a particular cow, no matter the vegetation, he will look and walk and search until he finds that particular cow's tracks. He will follow it and come low or high water, or low or high tide. I don't know what the expression says. No matter what, he'll find that cow. He'll follow that particular track, and he will find it. Yeah. What I'm trying to convey now is an incident that took part when I would say, about 12, 13 years old. Now, in a political context in South Africa, that was during the era of apartheid, segregation, separatism. Black people had to live in certain areas. Black people were not allowed to intermingle with white people and vice versa, let alone getting married. And it was just a terrible policy that was the system of apartheid. I mean, people who were underwear was used as evidence if the police found two people in a room together or in a bedroom together. It was just horrible. I was on my dad's ranch, and I was a little bit older. I was about 15, 16. I could at least now started. I was in the point where I could at least start thinking for myself. And my dad's brother Benny was visiting us like he would annually do. He'd come to the ranch for a week or so to come and hunt. Again, it's a South African tradition. And we went out one morning, myself, my dad, Benny, and Mafuta on one of the jeeps. And we traveled about a mile or so. Then, when we came to no, it was maybe 2, 3 miles away. We came to a gate that had to be open. My dad slowed down. I jumped off the jeep and went to open the gate so the vehicle can pass through. That being having done that, I got on the jeep again. Benny chastised me for opening the gate, telling me that was not my job to do that. That was Mafuta's job to do that. He's the laborer. And I said, that doesn't make sense. That is not good manners. I'm much younger than Mafuta is. Why should I have him open a gate and I just sit and hum and ha on the back of the pickup, on the back of the jeep? I said no. And my esteem of my uncle Benny dropped 100% that day. As I say, I vehemently objected to that statement that Mafuta had to open the gate because he's the laborer, and it was his job to do so. Mafuta was the poor man. He was confused. He didn't know what to do. So I told my dad, this is an area that I have not explored before, and I wanted to go somewhere in the area. Drop me off here and you guys go and continue hunting, because I was in no mood to continue hunting and enjoy nature. I was too upset. And I got off the jeep and I started walking back to the ranch house with tears streaming down my eyes, my cheeks, because I could just imagine how hurt Mafuta must have been. And I just couldn't stomach it. That afternoon, no, I just want to say something else. The reason why I said Mafuta must stay with him on the jeep was I didn't want him to take sides. And I knew he would come with me. But I didn't want him to, because I knew that put him at risk of being fired. And I did not want them to do that, or I did not want that to happen to him. Mafuta was a friend to me. He was probably about 40 years old, but he was a friend to me. He was a teacher. He taught me so much of what I got to know about hunting and wildlife. And I loved and respected him tremendously. And that was now when I was 15, 16 years old. And I can just say that this was probably the first personal experience that exposed me to the ugliness of the policy of apartheid, of not referring to, but treating some segment of the population as second-class citizens. I just couldn't stomach that. Now, later that afternoon, I was on the lookout for them when they returned, and I made sure that I didn't run into my father or Benny. And Mafuta was taking care of some chores by the corrals. And I walked over to him, and he saw that I was in a terrible state of mind. And he took my hand and he said, "Let's go for a walk." And we did. Of course, at that stage, every time I wanted to talk or start talking, I would start sobbing. And Mafuta would just squeeze my hand. And we walked, and we walked. We didn't talk. And he tried to just calm me down. And he stopped when we made a large loop, so to speak. He says, "I can't do anything about today or the events of today. Look at it this way. Tomorrow will be a better day."
Can I just clarify something?
Mm-hmm.
You said that Benny was your father's brother, but your father only had a sister.
No, it was my mother's brother.
Your mother's brother.
Yeah.
Your mother's brother, and what was his full name?
Benny van Rensburg. Benny van Rensburg.
Pause here. Do you have anything more to say on this?
No, I was just want to say, I said it was winter time. Yes. So that evening around the fire, the campfire, we always made a campfire, sat outside in the boma, which is a reed enclosure. It was cold. It was winter time. But it was not cold because of the temperature. It was cold because of the atmosphere. My father and Benny both tried to make some small talk about the day and whatever. But I was in no mood for it. And I asked them to please excuse me. I just wanted to go to bed and sleep. Now, the name of this chapter is Mixed Emotions or Mixed Reactions During Apartheid. It reminds me of another incident. I can't remember if it was before this or after this. But I was told by another laborer to do something or not to do something, whatever the case was. And I cheeked him by saying, "Ah," my father heard that. And he chastised me for backchatting an older person, irrespective of the fact that he was a black laborer or whatever the case may be. The point is, he was older than I was, and I dare not react to an instruction or a conversation from an older person than I was in the way I did. This totally in contrast with what happened that day with the situation with Mafuta. Totally in contrast and totally conflicting. And to this day, I could not explain my father's different reactions in the two respective situations. Well,
you say that Benny put a certain social pressure on you?
You know, that is a very, very important question. And I think that was the case because their political beliefs were the same. So I don't know if he tried to appease Benny with that kind of reaction. All I knew that it was something tremendously hurtful to me, and I can only imagine how hurtful it must have been to Mafuta. Because to this day, if I think back of it, I don't like speaking about it because it breaks my heart. My father was a good man, but this was one aspect that I could not digest about him.
I get the sense that in Maputo, there wasn't any meaning in the paper.
I can't hear you.
I get the sense from Maputo that he was used to this kind of behavior towards me.
Maybe during the course of his lifetime, but
Right.
I don't think that there was any other incident where my father was involved, which was such a negative
Right.
message or, yeah, call it that, or incident.
Yeah. And like we said, probably the pressure of Benny.
Very, very, very much so.